Hey guys, thanks for joining us for the online training for the 2019 Dream Big Dance. If you were unable to make it to the face-to-face training, then we just want to make sure that you received the training so that you could kind of go through the manual. And in the email where you received the link, you also had the manual attached to the email. So if you want to follow along with the manual as we kind of go through it, then that would be great. We'd like to make sure that everybody attends at least some type of training so that we're all on the same page and we can make sure that we just really pull off an excellent event for the Dream Big Dance because it's a super cool, exciting, fun night. And so we just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and informed with all the things that you need to know. Just a little bit of background. So the Dream Big Dance is going to be on May 4th. Hopefully that's on your calendar. Because it's May 4th, we decided to do a Star Wars theme this year. So we have some super cool decorations and going to have some Star Wars characters and cool photo booth opportunities and all of that kind of stuff. So for those of you who are Star Wars fans, yay for you. It's going to be on May 4th, Saturday. The dance will officially begin at like 6 or 6:30 when we'll start allowing participants to come in. As a volunteer, we need for you to be there quite a bit early so that we can get everybody else checked in and we can get you like in your spots and ready to receive guests by 6 o'clock. But we'll go over the schedule in just a few minutes at the end of the manual. So if you're following along with that, we'll get to that part in just a second. And a lot of the stuff that we'll go over today is mostly directed at people who are buddies, and that is because that is the majority. The majority of you are signed up to be buddies, like one-on-one buddies, because that's where the biggest need is for the dance. But we also have people who are going to be medical professionals, security team, the welcome care team, some people who will kind of be like floaters just to help and assist however necessary, some people who will take care of the parents in the parent room. So there's lots of different volunteer opportunities and lots of different roles. This training is not to go over specifically what the roles are, although we do cover a lot of things for the buddies in this training. But you will get more specific information about your roles and responsibilities that you are assigned to for the night and emails in the next 7 days or so. So please just make sure that you are regularly checking your email and looking for anything that says Dream Big Dance. We want to make sure that you read those emails thoroughly because those are going to have very specific instructions about like where to park and where to walk in, what time to be there, all of that kind of stuff. And if you have not yet signed up for our text reminders, then we ask everybody to please do that so that we can also communicate to you. Like we'll just shoot off a text reminder that says, hey, we sent out the email to the security team today, or something to that effect. So to sign up for our text reminders, you want to text the @ symbol at DBD, that stands for Dream Big Dance, 2019. So at DBD 2019 to the phone number 81010, 81010. So if you'll text that phrase to that number, then that will sign you up to receive our text messages so that we can communicate with you that way as well. So we're just going to go ahead and go through the manual real quick. And so if you have any questions afterwards, then you can always email one of the executive team members and we would be happy to answer any questions. Please give us some time to get back to you on things because I know we have received a plethora of phone calls and emails and text messages that we're trying to respond to as quickly as possible. So just be patient. If you send us any questions or whatever, we'll definitely get back to you before the day of the day or the day before the dance for sure. Okay, so some of our objectives. And we want to just make sure that everybody's really clear on the mission of the Dream Big Dance. So the first kind of goal that we have for this event is to make sure that we are kind of honoring and just celebrating people who have unique abilities and recognizing that God created all of us with a unique purpose and a plan, and that even though we have what society today would call a disability, it doesn't mean that they don't have abilities that God created them and intended for them. So we just want to make sure that we're celebrating that and giving people with disabilities an opportunity to participate in something that sometimes they have never had the chance to participate in before, or they're not like a part of that at their schools or when they were growing up, if they're older adults than when they were growing up, things were not available to people with disabilities. And so we just want to give them an opportunity to come and experience a fun night and kind of be with the faith community. And one of our other goals is also to kind of bridge the gap between the disability community and the faith community. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the manual. But the biggest thing that sets us apart from all of the other special needs proms or dances that you see, like at schools or with the Tim Tebow Foundation and things like that, we love and support those events. But the thing that sets our dance apart from that is that one of the biggest goals for us is that we want to make sure that that we have long-term effects. So this is a one-time event that is the catalyst to try to build some relationships with people with disabilities and typical people, to where the typical person will then invite someone to come to church and build a long-lasting relationship and give that person with a disability a place to really belong to a church home. There's just so many people who do not feel like they're welcome at churches when they have a disability, or they aren't aware that they're allowed to come to church for some reason. So we just want to make sure that they know that they are loved by us and that they're loved by God, and that we invite them to belong to faith community. So that's one of the biggest parts of our dance, and so we would just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we are in a similar mission mind whenever we're going into this event to serve. So if you want to look along with me, then we're on page 3 under Dream Big Dance Objectives. And so spiritually, we want to make sure that we model the unconditional and extravagant love of God by preparing an excellent celebration. We also want to illustrate God's great joy continuously through our words and our actions. We want to recognize and honor every participant and remember that everyone is fearfully and wonderfully made. And then we want to find local churches that can cater to the special needs population and where we can connect them with a church for a regular place of worship and Bible study. Socially, we kind of have, some social benefits to this dance that we want to focus on, which is the providing the opportunity to develop social relationships. So we are hopeful that if you are a buddy, you've signed up to be a buddy and you are assigned a person, that you will not treat this event as a one-time, get to know you and then never talk to you again type of event. What our real goal is that you would try to get to know the person as much as you can in a 3-hour period. We realize that's not much time to get to know somebody really well, but that will be the kind of the jumping start of a relationship with that person, where you can kind of begin to facilitate a friendship with them that is ongoing long after the dance. And we would really love it if the two of you would come back and ask to be paired together at next year's dance. Would be really cool. We also want to provide guidance in achieving independence and developing personal responsibility. We want to model healthy mutual dependence on one another, because we know that we were not created to be isolated. We were created for relationship. And so we want to make sure that we recognize that we are, kind of mutually dependent on everybody and their different strengths and weaknesses. And we want to develop community awareness of the isolation that surrounds teens and young adults with disabilities. As people with disabilities get older and into high school and after high school, a lot of what we hear from families is that they become very, very isolated. There's limited activities. It's difficult to find work. It is difficult to find a church home. So as you get older with a disability, sometimes your options are very limited, and then it causes you to be very isolated. And so we just kind of want to bring awareness to that. With the hope that we change that in the future. Physically, we want to promote a healthy attitude towards good personal well-being. We want to provide an opportunity where your daily standards for dress and attire are a little bit more than they are on a daily basis. And then we also want to model the importance of physical exercise through dance. On the next page, you'll see that we have a Buddies 10 Commandments. So again, while these were written specifically in mind for the buddies, because that's the bulk of our volunteer base, all of these do apply to everybody. So we want everybody to pay attention to this section, because these are the things that we really want you to bring that spirit of excellence and bring that spirit of the Lord with you in terms of these expectations. Number one, meet each dancer with a smile. We want you to remember that you are the impression of the Dream Big Dance. You are the impression of our organizations and really as the faith community as a whole. So we want to make sure that we are welcoming and loving and just happy to be serving that night. So just make sure that you come and meet each person with a smile. Number two, names are like doorknobs that open the door and let you into a relationship. So make sure that you ask the person their name. You will have some attendees that are nonverbal and then maybe they can't speak to you. The good thing that we've set you up with success is that whenever a volunteer who checks in, if you are a buddy, you will actually receive an armband that has your participant's name on the armband. So if you can't understand them because they have slurred speech or because they talk too softly, or they're nonverbal or something like that, then you will have an armband that has your person's name on it. So please get to know them by their name and use that as a way to start building relationship with them. Be a good listener and be focused on your buddy at all times. We just want to make sure that we are like present and engaged with our buddy the whole time. Okay, so you don't have to be like hovering with them or hanging on to them, or holding hands or holding onto their arm or their clothes or anything like that. But we just do want to make sure that you know where your buddy is at all times. It's okay for them to go to the restroom or to go to get something to eat, or if they tell you that they don't want you to come on the dance floor with them, those things are okay. But just make sure that you're keeping an eye on them and engaging with them as much as they are comfortable with you engaging with them. Keeping confidential information confidential is really important. So we do want you to share this experience on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Facebook, all of your social media platforms. Like, share it, take pictures, create memories, all of those kind of things. We want you to have a good time and treat it as you would a normal event. However, we do ask that you do not share on social media the participant's name, their disability, or any like personal information about them. You can write a really great post about what a great time you're having with your participant or whatever, and if you want to put like their initials, then that's okay. But we just ask that you keep that stuff confidential, only because there are a lot of, unfortunately, there are predators out there who look to take advantage of people who they believe won't be able to tell on them when they do something wrong, or that are easier to take advantage of. And so we just don't want to put anybody in any type of dangerous situation. And we need to be aware of those type of things. And so if you would just please not share names or disabilities of people, certainly not any like address information or phone numbers or anything like that on social media. And then another thing to watch out for as well is that all of the participants and volunteers, if you notice that they have a white armband with red stars on it, you want to make sure that you do not take any photos or videos of that person, because we do not have permission to take, they have put on their application that we do not have permission to take photos and videos of them. And so please make sure that you do not capture any photos or videos of anyone who has a white armband with red stars on it. Okay? All right. Be ready to assist dancers in overcoming any of their physical, intellectual, and emotional barriers as necessary, and be alert for dancers who may encounter any kind of like psychological obstacles like fear, transition anxiety, things like that. We want you to be able to like have a good time and to be comfortable. And there are going to be some of our participants who have a little bit of a harder time. Like, it's going to take them longer to go in the door because it's going to be loud and overwhelming and a lot of people and a large crowd. So maybe just give them a little bit of extra time. It may take someone an hour to convince themselves that it's okay to get on the dance floor without feeling like everybody's going to make fun of them or something. So just take things slow. If you feel like they are in an anxious state that is more than what you can handle, then please look for one of our security personnel or one of our executive team members or one of our medical personnel to kind of step in to help you. If you are coming with other friends or with other people from your church or your school, then ask somebody else to see if maybe they can connect with your participant on a different level to kind of get them over their fear or anxiety and things like that. But just don't be stressed out about it. Like don't be scared about it if you see them getting anxious. Just be aware of it and just try to put them at ease and be calm. For the most part, most of them are there and they have fun and nobody experiences any of that. But we do have a handful that may experience a little bit of anxiety things or overstimulation. And we will have a sensory room set up in the lobby where you can go to kind of a quiet space. We'll have a therapy dog in there, and you can go in and just kind of chill out in there for a little bit. You just want to make sure that you are never alone in there with your participant. So just make sure that there is someone in the room at the time when you decide to go in there, or grab another volunteer or another participant to come in there with you. Please make sure that you remain intellectually and emotionally present at all times during the event. One of my biggest pet peeves is whenever I see someone who is supposed to be ministering to a person with special needs or hanging out with them or, being friends with them or engaging in an event with them, and they're sitting there just on their phone, not talking to the person. So please make sure that you don't do that. We encourage you to have your phones out, take pictures, share pictures, do all of those kind of things, but don't be so engaged in a text conversation or a Snapchat conversation that you aren't paying attention to the person that you're there serving. Remember that we are there for them for the night, so just make sure that you give them your full attention for the 3 hours that we're there. Please maintain a 360-degree awareness. We just want to make sure that you're paying attention to your surroundings, that you are being aware of the people who are around you, watching out for our wheelchair users, making sure that they have space to get around. If you see someone that, let's just say hypothetically that someone has a seizure, like not panicking and just getting one of the medical professionals to come in and help with a situation like that or whatever. We just want to make sure that everybody is safe, because safety is one of our top priorities. So just make sure that everybody is having fun in safe conditions. Also, please remember that you set an example in everything that you do and say throughout the night. You are a representative of this dance. You are representatives of your church or your organization. And most importantly, you are a representative of Jesus Christ, because this is a faith-based event. And so we just want to make sure that we are setting the highest example possible for everybody who is involved. And then number 10, above all, just love. There's no greater human force in breaking down resistance, bridging gaps, and affecting eternal change in people's lives than demonstrating love and kindness to others. So we just want to love our neighbor and just continue to love and have fun and treat people with kindness. Okay, on the next page, is about what the Dream Big volunteers bring to the event. So the first thing that you bring to the event is a serving heart. So you wouldn't have signed up for this dance if you didn't feel like serving, because you are volunteering for this dance. And while it's a lot of fun for you, it is also a serving opportunity. So we want to make sure that we are coming and just kind of setting aside our, just our agenda, setting aside our just our pride or whatever it is, to make sure that the person that we are paired with is having the best time. So if they get upset for absolutely no reason, then say you're sorry. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, it's okay to say the words "I'm sorry," even when you don't need to. Things like that. So just make sure that you keep in mind that being a servant of the Lord means doing what the Lord would do. So in every situation throughout the night, just ask yourself, is this, what the Lord would be doing in this situation, and try to approach everything with that attitude. The second thing we need you to bring is a positive attitude. We want everyone to know that no matter what the circumstance, or if there's some kind of crisis that evolves or some dramatic thing that happens, just keep calm and stay positive through the whole thing. There's never been anything that has ever happened that couldn't be undone or couldn't be corrected or fixed. There's not likely going to be any kind of dramatic things that happen, but just in case, just make sure that you keep a positive attitude. Compassion and love is another thing that you bring. So we have found that people who serve in disability communities or in special needs ministries are some of the most compassionate, loving people that we've ever met. And so we're grateful for you, and we're grateful for your heart, and just super excited that you are going to bring just a spirit of love and compassion to this dance, because that's super important. Bring obedience, and you wouldn't have signed up for the dance again if you weren't an obedient person to answer the call to do that. And so, so we just ask that you make sure that you are obedient to following through. So you've signed up for something. We cannot put on an event without you. And so, please, 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 if you are signed up and you're watching this video and you have committed to being there, please, please, please make sure that you show up and that you are there early. And with bringing all of the things that we ask you to bring in terms of just your attitude and your selflessness. We do every year have a few people that say they're going to come and then they end up just not showing for no reason. So please don't be that person. Keep a clean eye. We want to make sure that with the Southern Exchange Ballroom has been very gracious to us, and it's a super cool space, and we're really excited to be able to be there, and they have a great team that we've been working with, and so we want to just honor them, and we want to be good stewards of the space. And so if you're walking around the night of the dance and you see empty plates sitting on the table, or if you see, trash on the floor or something like that and you walk past it, please don't just continue to walk past it. Like, pick it up and put it in the trash can, because we want to be good stewards of that space and we want to leave it better than we found it. Flexibility, if any of you are already currently working with people with special needs, or if you are the parent or relative of someone with special needs, then you know that you can plan all you can plan, but then in reality, usually the plans change. So you just want to make sure that you're flexible, because blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. Fun is the last thing that we need for you to bring. We just want you to bring a spirit of fun and celebration, and it's just a super exciting night to just have fun and just kind of be you. And we would just want to celebrate what God's goodness for our people and our event and how blessed we are. Okay, on the next page is some instructions for you about how you can connect a dancer to a local church. And this is kind of just the beginning steps of connecting them. And it says here in the manual that 80% of people with disabilities do not attend church. That is just outrageous that we have that many people in our communities that are not attending faith-based organizations. And it just shows us that our ministry to the disability community is severely lacking. And so we want to be a change agent for that. We want to begin seeing more people with disabilities in faith communities, in churches, in houses of worship. So we need your help to do that. And the cool thing is that if you really think about it, truly this night could be a night that, because of your willingness and your obedience to serve at this event, that this could be the timing, and you could be the person who literally changes the destiny for a person. Like the destiny and the purpose for their life could be significantly altered as a result of you becoming a friend to a person with disability. So just keep that in mind. It's a very high calling, and we're very grateful that you decided to move forward with signing up and joining us in this event. So a few things that you can do to kind of begin to connect with your dancer relationally, so that you can then turn around and invite them to your church. Number one is just be personal. Just get to know the person. Don't be afraid to ask them questions about themselves. Do they have pets? Where do they live? Do they go to school? Are they involved in any kind of organizations, or what kind of hobbies do they have? Just surface questions the same way that you would ask people questions when you're trying to get to know them. You have to look past the disability and just begin to see the person as a person. And so you just talk to them and get to know them the same way you do everybody else. Make your ministry time a dialogue and not a monologue. So you don't, while you want to share some things about yourself, you want to be a good listener and ask the person that you're there serving to really just share more about themselves, so that you know how to kind of navigate conversations and things with them, and talk about things that they're interested in talking about. So, if you really, really love sports, but they tell you that they can't stand sports, then don't talk about sports because they don't like it. So try to just be intentional about talking about things that they like to talk about. Seize the opportunity. Don't put off researching a church in the area or following up with your dancer after the Dream Big event. What we really want is that if you are already plugged into a church and your church has a great special needs ministry, we would love for you to exchange information with your participant before you leave the dance, either your social media platforms or your phone number if you're comfortable with that, and begin to formulate some communication after the dance is over. And we want you, if you're already attending a church, then invite them to your church. We are strategically pairing buddies with people who live in their community. So we are trying to be very, diligent about pairing them as close as possible with someone who lives in their zip code. So these people should be in your community whenever you meet them that night. So, go ahead and invite them to their churches, or if your church doesn't have a special needs ministry, then, you can invite them to one of the sponsor churches. So Mount Piran, Mount Pisgah, or Johnson's Ferry. Johnson's Ferry Baptist. And so you can invite them to one of those churches if you want to, or if you know of a church in your area that has a great special needs ministry, then direct them there. One of the cool things that we have decided to do this year is we will have postcards for you to fill out on your way out the door before you leave, after you have kind of, handed off your participant to their parent or their caregiver. What we would love for you to do is come to the table and fill out a postcard that just says, hey, Johnny, I had a great time at the Dream Big Dance with you. I hope we can do it again next year, or I hope maybe we can connect next month or something like that, and just sign the card, let them know what a great time you had, and what we are going, and then you'll find your person's sticker that will have a little mailing label with their name on it. And you'll put it on there. We'll collect those at the end of the night, and then our churches are going to mail those out in a few weeks to the participants. So we're going to do all of the mailing and all of that kind of stuff for you, but we just need you to do a little handwritten personal note to your participant telling them what a great time you had. So just another little tool for you to connect with them that's easy breezy. So please make sure that you stop by the table on your way out. And then also letting them make their own decisions. Talk to them about churches and encourage them to get involved, but don't be too pushy. Everybody needs to kind of make their own decision in their own timing. And there needs to be a good balance between encouraging them to get involved with the local church and then remembering that it's a fun celebration. You don't want the whole entire night to be all about what church are you going to go to, or hey, you should get in. And the night of may not even be the night to ask them about church. If you just will get to know them the night of, we'll send the postcard for you. You create some communication, ongoing communication after the dance is over. And then once you have earned their trust, and once you are friends and you earn the right to invite them to church, then you can invite them. A few general volunteer policies. Of course, we wouldn't have to write these in here if somebody hadn't broken a rule already. So here we go. Please don't leave the premises until your assigned buddy has left. So if you get bored or tired or whatever at 8 o'clock and your buddy is planning on being there until the dance is over at 9:30, please do not think it's okay for you to go and get in your car or get an Uber and leave the dance. You cannot leave your buddy unattended until after, don't leave your buddy until after they have left. Attendance for the full allotted time is required, and we do need for you to arrive no later than 5 o'clock for check-in. We are going to try to get everybody checked in by about 5:30 or 5:40, and then we'll have a brief little recap and prayer time with you, and then we need everybody in place by 6 o'clock when we open the doors for our participants. Please plan to stay until 10 in case we need any help with cleanup stuff and all of that kind of stuff. Please make sure that you are on time, and on time in church world means 15 minutes early. So if you want to show up at 4:45, that's awesome. And please make sure that you are on time for all of your duties and responsibilities. If you are on the Welcome Care team, we will need for you, you will be contacted individually with, just with your Welcome Care instructions. You will be required to be there quite a bit early because we need you there to check in all of the volunteers who are showing up at 4:45. Please remember there's no smoking by event staff or volunteers at any time during the event. Use of drugs or alcohol will be cause for immediate dismissal. We do ask that you respect the property and do not abuse any of the property for the Southern Ballroom Exchange. And then you will be charged if you damage anything on purpose, and we find out about it. Then you will be charged and expected to pay for that. You cannot bring any visitors who are not approved volunteers. We go to great lengths to make sure that every person who walks through the door of the Dream Big Dance and is a volunteer with us, whether it be from welcome care to security to buddies to the band, everybody is required to have a background check on file. And so so you can't just assume that you can just bring a friend with you, because we might need extra volunteers that if they are not background checked, they are not allowed to stay. We do ask that you wear modest and appropriate formal or semi-formal wear, and please do not, this is for the girls, please do not, well, and guys, I guess, don't wear stuff that exposes the torso. Nobody wants to see your belly on the night of this event. So please make sure that you're covered appropriately. And then some of the guidelines for conduct is that volunteers are expected to have appropriate Christian relationships with teens, adults, and fellow volunteers within the context of your volunteer role. So please make sure, that there is no, even if, let's just say that you and your boyfriend or your fiance or somebody, y'all come to serve together and you are paired with somebody, we are expecting you to have appropriate relationships with each other, as well as appropriate relationships with the person that you're assigned to. If you choose not to engage inappropriate relationship, behavior throughout the dance, then we will ask you to leave. Abusive behavior toward children, and we do have to put this in here, so please pay close attention to this part. This is obviously unaccepted volunteer behavior and will not be tolerated. Using obscene language, gestures, or making remarks that deliberately debase, humiliate, or intimidate your person with disabilities. Making any type of sexual contact or any inappropriate sexual suggestions, aggressively touching someone, or verbally threatening or intimidating. I know, again, we would hope that no one who signed up to be a volunteer at this dance would need to be told that, but we say it just in case. Discipline, obviously, there's no physical discipline allowed of anyone who is at the dance. Appropriate personal involvement includes activities or understandings between a volunteer and a participant that are outside the scope of ministry, that are being provided and are unknown to the Dream Big Dance leader. So such activities would be arranging a non-approved or inappropriate meeting outside of the dance venue. Now, again, we do want you to formulate a relationship, but the one thing that you need to remember about people with disabilities, especially some of our adults, like our young adults and adults, many times they do not have guardianship over themselves. So anytime that you want to arrange to go have coffee or something, if you're trying to build a relationship and a friendship with the person that you were paired with at the dance, we want you to do those things. Ask them to go places with you. Ask them to meet you at your community. Ask them to come to church with you. However, it's always a good idea to go through the parent of that person, because many times the parents, even after the person with disabilities turns 18 and they are officially adults, a lot of times they do not have guardianship over themselves. And so you just want to make sure that you clear that with the parents before you just have them come and meet you somewhere. So number two of things that we want to make you aware of is we just want you to, we don't mind if you exchange phone numbers or email address or whatever, any kind of contact information that you are comfortable sharing with the participant. Feel free to share that. However, obviously you are not allowed to use that information that you gain from the participant or that you share with the participant to make any inappropriate contact. So just make sure that you are aware of that. And then you just want to be careful of the close personal relationship information that you share with them. Personal information that you share. So questions or concerns regarding a volunteer's behavior with a Dream Big Dance participant should be discussed with Stephen Taylor, who is the executive director of the Dream Big Dance. And then on that same page in your manual, we do have the email addresses for the Dream Big Dance leaders on there, and kind of some of our roles. And then last but not least, we will go over the schedule. So on your schedule, it says at 5 o'clock, which again means 4:45. You will arrive at the Southern Ballroom Exchange. You are expected to pay for parking. There is a parking deck that is attached to the Southern Ballroom Exchange, kind of like on the, I think it's on the back side of it. And again, you will receive that, we will send in the email the address to the parking deck. So it will lead you directly to the parking deck. We do ask that you would park on the upper levels of the parking deck. So whoever gets there first, drive all the way up to the top level, like level 6 or 8 or whatever, as far up as you can go, and park there, because we want to save our lower level parking for the participants as much as possible. It is $6 to park. When you get your little ticket from when you go into the parking deck, you'll get a little ticket from the kiosk. Make sure you bring that ticket in with you, because normally parking is $8, but we're going to give everyone a sticker that will lessen it to $6. So you will get a $2 discount. So just make sure that you have a debit card or some cash with you to pay for your parking on your way out that night. You will go to the Dream Big Dance level, and that is when you're in the parking deck, you're going to go all the way down to the bottom, ride the elevator all the way down to the bottom to the street level, and then once you are on the street, you will cross in the crosswalk, and it will lead you directly into the doors, which is our ballroom. So the Southern Exchange Ballrooms has several, it's a building that has several ballrooms in it, and we are in what is called the cellar. So if you get lost, remember, first of all, you will receive this information again in your email next week, and just make sure that you ask for the cellar if you get lost or you can't find it. We do have a big stand-up banner that will be outside with some balloons, so it will be clearly marked, and just go in that entrance door and you'll see the check-in tables. You are going to check in with the welcome care team, and it'll be again clearly marked where the volunteer check-in is. You will receive your armband and your parking sticker, and let us know that you're there, and then you will head into the parent room, which will be off to your left, and we'll direct you when you get there, and that's where we will kind of gather for a quick little prayer and team huddle, just to recap everything and make sure everybody knows where they're supposed to be going. At 6 o'clock, and preferably at 5:45 if we can get everybody checked in by then, and go over our huddle and all of the last minute details. We hope to have you in place by 5:45, and everyone will be stationed at the red carpet and at the intake areas, ready to greet the guests. And so you'll be there ready to greet participants, cheer them on as they walk down the red carpet, take pictures, pair up with your participant, and just kind of create an exciting environment. You will receive, if you are a buddy, you will receive via email next week. Every single person will receive an email letting you know who you are paired with, and you will receive their contact information. So we would like for you to call the person before the dance, talk to their parents, tell them, what you're going to be wearing, share cell phone information, so that way you can kind of like text each other so that you can pair up and meet one another when the participant gets there, and all of that kind of stuff if you don't know who they are. And that y'all can kind of come up with your own plan of how you're going to meet up with one another. And then from 6 to 9:30 will be the dance. You're going to just enjoy the dance. We'll have Three Sisters Catering is providing all of our food and drinks. We have photo booths, live band, the dance floor, all of the Star Wars characters will be present. So we're going to have an awesome time just hanging out, dancing. And then at 9 o'clock, we will begin dismissing our group homes. So if you are a group home volunteer, again, you will get specific information about what your role is and exactly how you can assist with the group home participants. And so just make sure you're checking your email and reading that information thoroughly. But at 9 o'clock, we will begin dismissing the group homes. And at that time, we will get all of the group home people out, and then we should have just the individual registrants left from about 9:15 to 9:30. And around 9:30, you'll say your goodbyes. Make sure you stop by the table to fill out your postcard. Fill that out, and then after your participant is gone and you have filled out your card, then you are free to go and share all of your experience on social media, but only the good stuff, okay? And then at 9:30, actually from 9:30 to 10, if you could just check in and just make sure that all of the cleanup stuff is good to go, and if we could just all kind of pitch in and help clean up one or two things, then it shouldn't take any time at all to clean up the venue and kind of make sure that we leave it better than we found it. And so if you have any questions about anything that's in the manual, or any questions about the dance itself, then please feel free to email one of the executive dance team members. And again, just make sure that you are checking your email and sign up for our text reminders. And if you have not done that yet, then you can just go to your text app and you just text the phrase at, so the at symbol, at DBD stands for Dream Big Dance, 2019. So you're going to text the phrase at DBD 2019 to the phone number 81010. That's 81010. And if you text that phrase to that number, then that signs you up to receive all of our text communication. So we want you to be a part of that too, so that you don't miss any of our communications, and be checking your email for your specific instructions and for all of your roles and responsibilities for the night. And if you do have a question and you email or call one of us, then please just be patient, as we just have a lot of final details that we are covering in the next 10 days or so. And so we will get back to you before the dance, I promise. But just be really patient with those return phone calls and emails, if you would. And we look forward to dancing with you on May 4th. And we just are so excited that you're going to be part of this event with us. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you on May 4th.